Spring is here, and that means a continuation of the Neishloss Podcast, of course, on Neishloss and Fleming and with Integrity Marketing Group. Weather's getting warmer despite some rain out there, but nonetheless still an important time of year, as it really always is in the Medicare space, especially with a major carrier like UnitedHealthcare in an area like Virginia. I'm your host, Mike Asti, here again on the Neishloss Podcast. I want to remind you to click that subscribe button right below me there, bottom of the video. It'll help us get all of our content to you. It'll help us get all of our content to you for free as well, free to subscribe. And also make sure to check us out all through social media. On LinkedIn, we are now on Instagram at Neishloss_Fleming, and also on our main website, N&F Inc., NANDFINC.com, where you can find everything we're doing, as well as get a path towards our YouTube channel here for this show, Near and Far, Senior Moment, many other programs throughout our YouTube channel. And to have this conversation as we trek towards now a new month, a new time of year, and still a focus on what's going on in the Medicare industry. Obviously, AEP feels like a while ago, but not too far in the future as well. We're kind of in that middle period right now, and we are going to be speaking with Briana Penny, who is the sales director with UnitedHealthcare in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Going to be talking mostly Virginia here for the purpose of this show. So Briana, first off, thanks for joining me. I definitely appreciate you taking the time. We were talking off the air. I'm glad that you gave me the proper pronunciation of your name, so hopefully I got that right.
You did. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Glad you could join me. Glad I could get that right for you. And I want to get things started, of course, with Virginia being a big market, a lot of opportunities in the Medicare industry. There are a lot of competitors out there. Obviously, when you're UnitedHealthcare, you feel like you're the top dog, and for good reason, but there's still a lot of competition in the Virginia market. Now, because of that competition, there's a need for major carriers even to kind of set themselves apart outside of just living off the brand name, even if that's a successful brand name. So outside of the UnitedHealthcare brand name, what are some reasons that you feel that people are interested in UnitedHealthcare and their staying power with members and clients with UnitedHealthcare in your area despite all the competition?
Yeah, the branding helps, of course. As
Sure.
you mentioned, UnitedHealthcare happens to be, on the Fortune 10. And so that's really helpful for us. But as you also said, it seems that puts a target on our back, right? So, of course, all of the competitors are always looking at what we're doing and duplicating it and coming for us. And there are great plans out there as well. But one of the things I think a lot of agents may resonate with and appreciate about UnitedHealthcare is our level of support and development of them. Our members are certainly very important, but agents are very important to us as well. Our partners, we couldn't be successful without our agent partners. So we offer from a national perspective, very robust agent trainings. But locally, right in Virginia, I have some very knowledgeable, very dedicated, and super passionate, actually, agent
That's important.
managers.
Yeah.
Very. I have some passionate agent managers who are always availing themselves to our agent partners for local agent trainings, for just coffee and chats, one-on-ones if necessary. And while we do have an internal sales channel, we offer nothing less to our external partners. Everyone gets the best of UnitedHealthcare. In this last year, I think one of the ways we were able to set ourselves apart slightly, Mike, is that, this was a year of uncertainty, right? For all of us. This last year was different. No one expected a national pandemic.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that we were able to do was to quickly pivot and come up with strategies to continue to work with our brokers and agent partners to continue to help them grow their book of business. And some of the competitors were still trying to figure that out for a while. So while we were there touching folks, coming up with different ways of virtual selling and providing them with the resources and the tools, that kind of set us apart from some of the other folks. So I think that could be it.
That is a good answer for sure. So again, Briana Penny joining us, the sales director with UnitedHealthcare in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, talking UHC in Virginia, of course. And I definitely think that's important because obviously you can ride a brand name so far, but you need to have the customer service, you need to have the relationships, and that's challenging during a pandemic, but still being able to do that and kind of adjust. And then you also need to have the product line, the plans and the benefits that cooperate. And that will segue into my next question for you. UnitedHealthcare is not just a brand name. As you mentioned, UnitedHealthcare has the platforms, it has the technology, it's willing to adjust, it's willing to hear maybe criticism, it's willing to adjust and adapt, and it's willing to build those relationships, but it's also willing to put out product line that works for the people, which is very, very important. And UHC has a well-developed portfolio of plans that consumers can choose from in the Virginia market in particular. So, with that said, what are a couple plans that stand out? That obviously you need to do a needs analysis for each individual client, but what are a couple plans that maybe stand out, that are important, that you're noticing having growth, that are having success so far in your market with UHC?
You know, in the Northern Virginia area, we've seen substantial success with our AARP Walgreens PPO plan, which is a $0 plan, and also the HMO, which is a low premium plan, a $19 AARP HMO plan. Both of those plans have been wildly successful. And I think they've been successful, number one, for just that reason, right? $0 and low premium always perk the ears up of consumers. But these plans are very robust plans with very comprehensive networks. Both of them have comparable out-of-pockets that the MOOP is for that Walgreens plan. It's very comparable, if not less, than most of our competitors. And for the HMO, we dropped that this year for 2021. That came down even lower to $5,900, which is lower than a lot of our competitors. So lower MOOP, $0 labs. Both of them have very comprehensive dental plans attached to them. And again, the network in the Northern Virginia area is just, great. So folks are really gravitating to those plans. And we've seen a lot of growth in those plans year over year, even though we actually had some substantial expansion this year. So that's exciting about UnitedHealthcare in Virginia right now, is that the expansion. Several new plans came out. The Patriot option came out. We had an MA only option to come out. So we are seeing just folks in different areas. Virginia has some very rural areas where we didn't have a lot of offerings. So, here recently for this year, since 2021, we've been able to cover, almost everywhere someone is, there's something available for them.
Right.
And the same with the DSNP plans. We know that for a long time, a lot of our agent partners, there were just a certain group of folks who focused on DSNP. Now I think agents are seeing the value in the dual special needs plans as well. And so we have some tremendous growth because more agents are seeing the value. They're understanding where those folks are located. They're finding those or identifying people who may be eligible for DSNP plans. And our HMO DSNP is really growing as well.
I think that Patriot plan is definitely one to bring up. I was going to bring that up if you didn't, especially with that answering what some competitors have done in the past, maybe with the veterans community. That's a big deal for UnitedHealthcare to be doing as well. And of course, UHC is a major carrier. UnitedHealthcare is a major carrier that's involved in the Med Advantage, the Med Sup, the DSNP, involved in pretty much every aspect of Medicare here. Want to remind you again, hit that subscribe button at the bottom of this video if you like this conversation, and also want to hear what else is going on throughout the country in terms of the Medicare market, the Medicare markets across the country, and with many different carriers like UnitedHealthcare in Virginia. Again, speaking with Briana Penny, the sales director with Maryland, DC, and VA, as we're talking UnitedHealthcare. Now, we talked the brand, we talked relationships, we've talked now some plans that are being offered. And of course, if you want to know more about the UnitedHealthcare plan portfolio, feel free to give us a call, comment below on this video, and we'll contact you. Certainly can contact Briana and her team. There's much to choose from, to say the very least. You throw up a quote engine, you're going to see a lot of UnitedHealthcare plans in any different aspect of Medicare. But what are some attractive benefits outside of just the plans? We mentioned the Patriot Plan, we mentioned some of those plans. What are some of these benefits that really make these plans attractive, maybe make them more attractive than they were in the past, and that agents really need to make sure they're getting across to their clients? That especially now with the pandemic and challenges, they may not have all day to get this point across. These are some important things they have to get across. What are some benefits that really help bolster these UnitedHealthcare plans?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And it's super.
Got to get to the nitty gritty at some
So
point.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
a great question. And it's very effective. I mean, one of the things that we don't want is our mission to just be a marketing tagline. Like,
Right.
we really live that culture here at UnitedHealthcare, that we want to help people live healthier lives. And the only way we can truly achieve that is to treat every person's situation uniquely. So you mentioned something a moment ago that just really perked my ears up, because it's a big deal for me. We train, we stress, we remind, we retrain
Right.
agents, to do a thorough needs assessment, to slow down and do a thorough needs assessment. Because once you understand that client's needs, then the agent can successfully offer a solution via a UnitedHealthcare plan, of course, though, but a solution to
Of course.
fit that member or the prospective member's need, which means that the most attractive benefit, is going to be different for every person. But some of the benefits that we have found that have been helpful, as you mentioned, especially recently, is trying to help folks stay active and healthy, right? Don't sit at home just eating, right? So we have a Fitbit.
We all were
that's
guilty of
active,
that at times during the pandemic.
I know. There's going to be there was a freshman 15 when we were in college. There's going to
Right.
be a pandemic 25 or something. I
I went through that roller coaster ride. Yeah.
reached that. So, yeah, but I think the Renew Active benefit has been so great, because we pivoted, right? Quickly said, folks aren't going to gyms right now, and that's okay. How do we bring this health education and an active lifestyle directly to them? So the Renew Active is sending information to members. There's an app, there's an opportunity for them to do workouts online. It is just a phenomenal benefit. The other thing that my personal favorite is, because I'm just passionate about the dual SNP community, is the $55, the new $55 healthy food benefit that we added to our D-SNP plan. That has just been a blessing to so many people. I've gone out we have community outreach representatives here. That's another added benefit to our agents, sidebar. But they go out and they find different events and different partners that we can then connect an agent to. And me going out to some of those events, even the ones that are virtual, there's been folks who are like, oh my God, you have no idea how this healthy food benefit has helped me, how much I needed that. The additional $55 for foods is just a huge benefit. And the fact that there are certain foods that they can buy with this, right? So it's a healthy food benefit. You're not going to be able to get Cheetos with this. So it really gives them, that extra food and resource that they need to get food.
Right.
But then we can also kind of tailor it to make sure that they're buying the foods that are going to be most healthy for them. So I love that benefit. That's one of my favorites. But we also have very comprehensive dental plans, as you know, vision plans, transportation, all the additional ancillary benefits that were chiropractic, acupuncture, which is huge in the Northern Virginia area, because, it's so diverse, so many different ethnic groups and different people who really utilize acupuncture and some of those other benefits. So There are a plethora of benefits that would be considered attractive to a member. Those are some of my favorites.
That's plenty. Number one, I really enjoy the word plethora. It's one of my favorite words in the language. And number two, I've never done acupuncture, but I've always wanted to actually do that. So that's something that I've always actually wanted to take part in. I've never experienced. Yeah, UnitedHealthcare has so much to offer, of course. Could do a whole podcast potentially on what's going on with just the dental side of things with UnitedHealthcare, and that's of course been a step up from where it was a couple years ago, and that's kind of answering the bell of maybe some ancillary carriers out there. There's really no need to have to pair anything with UnitedHealthcare. It's all there in these UnitedHealthcare plans. So that's a major deal, and of course adjusting the benefits to the pandemic, very, very important, because as you mentioned, there are people that aren't leaving their house, and even after vaccines are all out there and everyone's vaccinated, they still might not feel comfortable, which is fine, but there's still a necessity to be able to work out not only your body but also your mind. That's important, especially for maybe some seniors who unfortunately are living alone. Very important to still be working on all of that and taking advantage of that and utilizing that the best you can, even if you're not getting out there and working out and getting amongst the people in public. And the food card, a very big deal. And no, it will not get you potato chips, but it can certainly still help you nourish your body. And honestly, if you're able to use that money for the healthy stuff, maybe you'll have more spare change in your pocket to go ahead and buy that candy bar on the side. And just don't tell us you're doing it. But yeah, we all need that every now and then, of course. But it'll leave you more money to go ahead and do that. So just don't tell Briana that you're doing that. But all of that makes sense in general for people in the new way of the world, but also especially still now during the pandemic. Briana Penny, Sales Director with UnitedHealthcare, Maryland, Virginia, and D.C., that DMV area. So that's kind of what they call it down there. I have a lot of friends down there. I spent some time down there. So the DMV area basically is what she's running with UnitedHealthcare. And I do now want to pivot. And while everything we've said on this show is very, very true, and I do believe in UnitedHealthcare is a carrier that we work with diligently, it's our most prominent carrier really here, in all honesty, at Neishloss and Fleming. We definitely put an emphasis there in our relationship with UHC. Virginia, definitely an area and a state that I personally heavily focus in. But in terms of selling UnitedHealthcare in particular in Virginia, there are still going to be some challenges, maybe just because of the pandemic or just in general. Nothing is perfect. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, there's a lot of competition, including competition in major carriers that also could sit here with me and tell me they have a solid brand name and they could live off the brand name, but they're doing it with plans and they're doing it with benefits too. Some benefits are, copied across the board as well at this point, regardless of who did it first. So in terms of selling UnitedHealthcare in the Virginia market, what are some challenges that maybe you're aware of? What advice maybe could you give to any agent who's encountering any of those challenges, as we certainly get agents to watch these shows? Because obviously it's a successful company, successful plans, they're great for a lot of people, but there's going to be negative Nellies and negative Nancys out there. They're going to try to bring something up, and I also have noticed that during the pandemic, it's also made the prospective members do even more research. So you might even encounter times where they're going to say to you, does that plan have this benefit? I know I should get that benefit. So you got to be ready with that answer of yes, and if the answer is not yes, you may have to try to work around that. So what advice would you give to overcome any challenges that may exist?
Yeah, so, when you have a state as large as Virginia, any plan with large territory who has a robust portfolio, so multiple different plans, and thousands of agent partners.
Sure.
There are going to be challenges, right? So that's just inevitable. We get that. That's inevitable. And I think the challenge that may stick out to me most, that we see most often, is not unique to other plans. It depends on where that agent is concentrated for their sales market. Could be network, right? We have a very robust network. I'm very proud of the network. We've added the National Medicare Network. So Virginians who live on borders, like you said, the DMV area, they can cross
Mhm.
over. If they're close to Tennessee or North Carolina, they have the opportunity to see in-network doctors, right? So we have and even if they're not in a PPO plan. So we have this National Medicare Network that allows folks to visit network docs in neighboring states. Um, but right in Virginia, in certain rural pockets, there are two large hospital networks that people are just married to. And we unfortunately don't have those two
Okay.
in those areas. So it depends on where someone sells. That network is always something that we're hearing, right? Don't have them. You don't have them. You don't have them. And it's really hard to say how to overcome that challenge because I think twofold. When I sit down and speak to a prospective member, we talk about their healthcare needs, right? The needs analysis,
Mhm.
and then we talk about the doctors that they see, and we look up their doctors and we see what doctors are in network, who's not
Right.
in network, where they are, and then I begin to ask them because we're moving into a different phase of senior. Um, there are a lot of boomers and there are a lot of healthy folks that are living healthier lifestyles for real. They are taking care of themselves. And so I
Sure.
ask, how often do you see, Dr. Asti? Do you see him multiple times a month for a chronic illness or disease that someone is managing? Or is that just somebody I really like, right? I like Dr. Asti.
Yeah.
I'm not going, right? But when I put that on paper and I help folks see that and say, okay, so this is a physician that you like, I get it, but he's not managing a chronic illness because thank God you don't have a chronic illness or disease. Um, it's just someone you really like. And then we look at the cost of their savings going into certain plans that we may have and what they will save. Is it, sticking with Dr. Asti, worth you just finding another specialist that is in our network? And oftentimes when we sit down and we talk it over and we show them the plans and what they'll be gaining by losing that one doctor, it's not that big of a deal to them. But on the flip side of that, there are some folks who do have chronic illnesses, they have ongoing diseases that they're managing. And because they're doing that, these are doctors that have been managing it, and this hospital system is where they need
Mhm.
to go. And we understand that. And our plan may not be the best one for them. And our goal is to make sure that folks are in the right plan for them. Because if they come to us and they're in a rural area and they have a chronic illness and they can't go to that particular hospital system, it's not going to benefit them or United Healthcare when they begin to complain, right? So kind of
Absolutely, and I
the
got
big
to hear
picture.
myself call Dr. Asti on the program a couple times. I never have heard that before, so that was nice. I'm gonna cut that sound bite out there for my own personal keeping. Briana Penny, the sales director with United Healthcare, Maryland, DC, and Virginia, or the DMV as we put it throughout this show, as we're talking United Healthcare in Virginia. She just gave a real honest answer, and that's fantastic here on the Neishloss Podcast. Want to round things out, though, just kind of letting you know that, of course, as I mentioned, United Healthcare, a major focus of us here at Neishloss Fleming, really throughout Integrity Marketing Group overall. We're heavily involved with United Healthcare agents all across the country, but definitely in Virginia. We have an in-house graphic designer to help out amongst ourselves, amongst the whole marketing team, amongst any of us that can certainly answer any of your questions, helping you get contracted with UHC, helping you go through that process, helping you learn the education and really learn each plan. We have that in-house graphic designer. We have digital marketing tools, including a relationship with a former agent who now specializes in the challenges, especially now with digital marketing, with helping agents create social media accounts, a website, and really maintaining and posting on those. I actually am going to do an upcoming podcast with him in the not too distant future to really dive in and explain that in depth. We have Medicare Center, which is an online enrollment platform. United Healthcare is there. You can go there, look up doctors, prescription drugs, that network that Brian is talking about, use it as a quote engine, find those UHC plans there. And again, we have bonus programs. We have tons of marketing tools, and United Healthcare is a major focus for us, very important to us, but it's not just because we have the relationship with great people like Briana Penny. It's because United Healthcare usually does have a plan that makes sense for you, and doing that needs analysis. Generally, there's something United Healthcare can offer, and I think that that's simply a fact, and we discussed it at this point on the show. So There's no reason to dispute it. If you didn't know, now you know. Brian, I definitely appreciate the time for sure. Had fun on this show, to say the least. Any final words you have, whether it be advice to clients, whether it be speaking to the average 65 and older person out there, anyone can listen and watch these shows. Any final words of wisdom here about UnitedHealthcare in Virginia, or just in general?
Yeah, I just want to thank you, first of all, Mike, for inviting me to come on and learn a little bit about what we have going on in Virginia. Virginia is an extremely exciting market right now because, as I mentioned, we just have a robust portfolio of plans, we have a great network, and we have good people. I have a great team who is just super dedicated to the agents in our market. And so I thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk a little bit about that. This is just so cool. Like, this is the type of thing I love about Neishloss and Fleming. Like, the fact that you go directly to carriers, right? And you bring that information to your agents in a format that they can access whenever they like is just phenomenal. So thank you for your partnership with us. I would say that if anyone is interested in learning anything more beyond what we talked about today, if I can answer any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me about the plans in Virginia, and I will get you connected. We'll get you enrolled. And if there are agents that kind of on the fence about whether they want to sell in Virginia or not, I say, come on, it's so much here, so much opportunity. There's still a lot of folks eligible. We need you. We need your help to identify these folks and to get them enrolled into these United plans. So please, I welcome you.
And I think when you're selling UnitedHealthcare too, you don't have to go through the sales pitch of who is this brand. People know who the brand is. They're aware of the product. I remember watching UnitedHealthcare commercials when I was 5 years old, even before I knew anything, of course, about Medicare. Then you get into the plans, then you get into the benefits, then you get into really doing that needs analysis and finding what's the right fit for that client. But it's a brand that's out there, that's going to be out there long before us. It'll be out there long after us, and it's that thriving company. Sure. And during the pandemic, during situations like this, it kind of forced us, as you mentioned, doing a podcast like this, doing this YouTube channel, it forced us to adjust and adapt and expand ourselves and offer these tools and these assets to agents out there to better their business. So again, there's many tools for you, the agent, to better yourselves as well. Once again, want to thank Briana Penny, and if her team's like her, I'm sure that they're going to be very, very successful. Definitely enjoyed this conversation. Sales Director with UnitedHealthcare in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. Maybe we'll have you on in the future to talk about any of those other areas that you're working in as well. For all of us here throughout Neishloss and Fleming, and of course Integrity Marketing Group, I'm your host as always, Mike Asti, and that'll do it for this edition of the Neishloss Podcast. Once again, remind you, bottom of this video, it's easy, just click the subscribe button, free to do so, and help us get all of our content to you. That's it, until we meet again.